During the channeling, the defense saw a chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used his last strength to fight back, sir. While the two were fighting, the victim took out the gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed.
What do you mean he was too close? That's the ideal shot.
The defendant picked up the gun, picked up on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. Scenario does make sense.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Wright.
On the surface, it does seem to make sense. However, I won't give up that easily.
Please refrain from glaring at me like that. Now then, your cross-examination, please. I want to press in the fact that he missed at point-blank range. How are you too close to miss a shot? And as you were fighting, the victim took out his gun.
How do you miss that close?
So you're saying that the bullet hole in this costume was made then?
Sorry, pal, but yeah, that's what I think. The two of them were already fighting when a shot was fired.
Maya, I'm really glad you weren't hurt.
Why would she choose to stab him, though?
There's quite a difference in height between Dr. Gray and the defendant. Add in body strength, and it seems unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim.
Yeah, that you mention it. Yeah, I guess.
Objection!
You think you can get away with such a flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Maya Fey was in the middle of channeling, was she not? I love this, of like, if you're gonna go with the belief that she was not in her right mind because she was channeling someone else, she could have been channeling someone that would have had the strength to do it. I don't think it would work, but like, I like where you're going, Von Karma. When channeling with the Kerrang channeling technique, the medium physically changes. I am so happy about this. So happy. With the nurse's bill, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor.
I don't believe it. She even studied up on the Korean channeling technique.
Okay, here's my thing. I want a Phoenix Wright game. I think there is one that we get Edgeworth. I want a Edgeworth Francesca von Kanema, like, team up. I want that. I want that to happen. Please. If it does happen, let me know in the comments, guys. Like, please let me know if that is a game, because I will be very excited for it. Like I said before,
I am perfect. About what you were talking about, I didn't quite get it. Never mind. Let's continue with the testimony.
The victim used the last of his strength to fight back. He had a gun, she had a knife. Isn't the old phrase, never bring a knife to a gunfight?
So he was stabbed, but the stab wound didn't kill him.
And if you think about the blood loss, he was probably hurt pretty bad.
How badly hurt would you say he was?
Actually, I went to get blood the other day, and afterwards I felt a little lightheaded and dizzy. I guess the damage was maybe about 10 times the dizziness. Sorry. The two were fighting. The victim. If he didn't have much strength and was very dizzy, how would he have taken his gun out?
Where in the world did that pistol come from?
Looks like the victim, Dr. Gray, had specifically bought it for that day. How is that not suspicious? How?
But a handgun.
Got it off the black market about 2 days before the murder. How is that not a massive red flag? How? Also, for those of you that aren't aware but live in the States, yeah, the US is like one of the few countries that like you can just like go about and buy a handgun. Like pretty much anywhere else, Japan especially, you pretty much the only people that have guns are cops. So like a lot of like, if you ever see any murders from Japan, a lot of the times it's arson, it's knives, it's just sadistic fuckery. But you don't see a lot of gun crimes because basically cops, probably anyone in gangs, so like your Yakuza, stuff like that, like you're already like definitely bad dudes, have guns. So that's why, like, but still, the fact that he is buying off the black market before going to prove his innocence. I'm sorry? How does that not look like a massive red flag? Why did Dr. Gray bring a gun? Because he was trying to silence his victims again? Was he taking precautions against something? Or trying to, like, bury any possibility of getting, like, held accountable? Okay, picked up the gun.
Hold it! Maya has never fired a gun before in her life.
And the victim had already taken off the safety. With the safety off, even an amateur like you could fire it just by pulling the trigger.
Even me, I wonder.
Are we also not... We're also talking about distance and recoil. Now you understand. Avant Karma's logic is perfect.
His testimony certainly makes this look very bad. But there's gotta be a contradiction in there somewhere. And uncovering it is going to uncover the truth. I can feel it.
Okay. There is something I'm curious about. Like, you see the blood, but do we have the gunshot residue? Because there would be gunshot residue. Like, the powder residue. Or gunpowder residue, there we go. Like, there would be gunpowder residue, right? Right? Okay, so I actually was right. There's no gunpowder. I don't know if there's gunpowder residue.
I'm going also by Walter. Missing the tiny hole on this costume will be the prosecution's undoing.
Eh? What do you mean?
This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. You said the two of them were fighting when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where's the gunpowder burn on this costume?
Gunpowder burn?
This is what you testified earlier. When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole.
Oh.
And there is not a single trace of gunpowder burn on this costume.
That is a very good point. And what exactly does this mean?
It means that when the shot was fired, they were standing apart from each other.
Objection! I'm disappointed, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You think you could punch a hole in my logic with that? With wishy-washy thinking like that, anyone can explain anything away.
Then I implore you to disprove my line of thinking.
Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away, and it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that?
Objection! As if there was even possible. According to the testimony, the wound from the stabbing was very severe. The victim would have not had strength to push the defendant very far after that.
Well, then... God, I want a Von Karma Edgeworth team-up episode. Like, please, someone tell me that exists. That's right. The defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, she must have put some space between the doctor and herself. Because she did stab him if she pulls... Okay, going off of Von Karma, like, Maya / the nurse pushes him away, pulls the knife out. Because then that would exacerbate the bleeding. Because if the knife is still in, it does kind of keep like the blood vessels and all that. But I think it also depends on where you stab. And of course, like if you make any like slicing and all that in it, like I'm sure it'd be fine. I do way too much like criminal like information research. Why does my phone constantly like be like, hey, here's a thing that you need to take care of, even though it's supposed to be on site. Like makes no sense to me. Whatever. And then, while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took his shot. Don't sound confident about karma, but you're like my favorite right now. There, that should satisfy even you. That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Wright?
I must be careful. I can't afford to make a mistake here. Concentrate and think.
Here's my thing. Why would she then choose to shoot him? If she had the gun, she could just let him bleed out. Also, too, unless you're looking at the channeling, in which technically the ghost wouldn't have any sort of like how would you prosecute like a channeled spirit? But again, like, the nurse would know to. That's my thing, is if the nurse wanted to go in to kill him, and this didn't start off as that. That's just my thing.
There is a fatal flaw in her argument, Your Honor.
Fatal flaw?
Very interesting.
I would love to see where this flaw is. Show me something that contradicts my explanation.
There has to be a snag in her explanation somewhere. She put some distance between them before rushing to make the final blow.
It wouldn't make sense for her to put the distance if she has a knife.
And when she was about to strike, the doctor took his shot.
Why would she put distance when she has a knife?
There must be a piece of evidence that contradicts this line of thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. I think. Okay, and now we finally present the folding screen.
Take that!
This is the piece of evidence that destroys your logic.
What is that? A folding screen?
I would like to point the court's attention to the hole in this folding screen. It looks like you already know what I'm talking about.
Ooh, where? What?
Mr. Wright, your explanation, please. Are these two really that clueless? The bullet went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means... when the shot was fired, Maya, I mean the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was actually squatting low to the ground.
That is actually really smart. I did not think that through at all. Order! Order! This changes everything!
Please look at this diagram of the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Gray, was here when he fired the shot. The bullet hit this folding screen. It hit this location about 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area.
So it would have had to have been like here-ish and not like here. Like here-ish, right? Hopefully I can present like here and it's fine. Because like for him to like shoot, I can't draw like here-ish.
Take that!
Maybe?
Somewhere around here. Uh-oh. The judge's face is scrunched like he just smelled something serious bad breath. That is, I mean...
Wait, I just realized I forgot to brush this morning. Excuse me while I brush it up.
Sure. In the meantime, I want you to think things through again, Mr. Wright.
That has to be where he shot from. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so we're so automatically just left of where the hole is. So like here. But then it says the west side. Like back here? Hold on. Okay, I'm looking at this. I guess we'll go here.
Take that! She was standing here near the folding screen.
I guess that makes sense. Wait a second. We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole, but how can you gauge the distance from that? Isn't it possible the defendant was standing much closer to the victim?
That's impossible.
Why?
You, of all people, should know the answer to that question, Ms. Von Karma. If she was shot from somewhere closer, there would be gunpowder burns present. However, there is nothing of the sort around the bullet hole of this costume.
Ugh. Curse you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You!
I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing away from the victim when she was shot at. But do you think this has changed the defendant's situation? It changes everything. Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. The prosecution has claimed that the defendant was aiming to kill by stabbing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with a knife would be ideal. However, where and what was the defendant doing at the time?
Squatting all the way by the folding screen?
Exactly. If Maya Fey was a real murderer, why would she be by the folding screen instead of preparing to strike? Upon further consideration, does make very little sense.
Yeah, I figured there had to be a reason.
Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job. Alright, with this, the rest of the trial should be in the lost radius of disaster.
You are such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix Wright. To think that you've been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point? Now I know why Papa had a tough time with you. You amuse me.
Of all the things to inherit, why did it have to be that smarmy smile?
Detective, how dare you damage my perfect logic? Huh? Come on. Von Karma, I just said earlier in this trial that you were like not using others and like just steamrolling them, and now here you are just steamrolling everyone because you're like, how dare you screw me over? You literally were like, I can understand, like, if Gumshoe, if they never brought forward that evidence of like, hey, there's this bullet hole and this is her improv, but like still, like don't go about your way to the top by using everyone else's stepping stools. You can start by repairing your standing. You can start repairing your standing by first removing that 3-strand goatee. Oh, and rest assured, your punishment will come later.
Punishment.
Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I could take of the detective's face. I think it's time to call in the next witness.
Next witness. That's gotta be Lotta.
Very well. The court will take a 5-minute recess. After we reconvene, you will hear from the next witness.